Welcome in, everybody. It's another episode of the DNVR Rapids podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Carroll, a.k.a. Merchel, a.k.a. Tiger Woods, big dog meme enjoyer. And I'm joined today by two big dogs. Super Yaya.
What up, big dog?
Big dog.
How you doing today?
Love it. Best meme of the season. It's so good.
2023 is like we're going out in a banger. We don't care.
Yeah. Keep the internet thriving, baby. Big dog. Also big dog. Downtown Duane Brown.
It is the stupidest and most simple meme.
It's so
and
good.
I have enjoyed every minute of it.
Every single one gets a like from me, gets a chuckle out of me. You can't go wrong with that meme. It's a perfect meme.
You want to know which one was my favorite? Eric D-line.
That was my favorite.
Where he's like looking at all the other men starting their Christmas shop.
Every adult male.
Big dog. Or Josh Allen just saying it to every single player on the field. It is so good. Welcome in, guys. We got a nice little show for you. Last week it wasn't very news topical. We obviously had Chris Armas here in studio.
We had Chris Armas in studio?
We did.
Oh, wow.
You should have been there. It was tight. Go
check it out, by the way.
Yeah, check it out. It's I think it's still pinned to our Twitter. If not, it's in our YouTube playlist there. Go look at that. We also talked to Omir Fernandez afterwards. Put that up on YouTube. Go check that out. That's a nice little short interview just to kind of get to know him. So we didn't really get to talk about the news of the week, which was the schedule release, which was the MLS Super Draft 2024 presented by Adidas.
I love that you say that. You put it in our tweet as well, and I was like, okay.
It's so funny how many times Weeby had to say that on that draft show. I laughed so hard every time he did, so I'm going to use it now too. And then there's some rumors going around, and we talked a little bit about them on Twitter. Or X, whatever you want to call it. I'm still calling it Twitter. Never saying X ever again.
I call it Twitter.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's Twitter. It's because that's what it is.
It is. It actually says twitter.com right there on my computer.
It just looks stupid. I haven't changed the IP address.
So we are going to talk about some rumors, positions of need. But let's talk about the schedule first. I think that's the place to start. Do you want to kick off that discussion about the schedule?
Yeah. Do you want to bring that graphic up real quick for us, super producer Kale? All right, so we're looking at it. Looking at the schedule, I got the one that says home and away because I wanted us to really focus on the key matchups at home and the ones that you are looking the most, maybe travel-wise or whatever. But when I first look at the schedule, the first one that really stands out to me, I think it's the 3rd of March against LAFC at home, the 2:00 one.
No,
the 3rd of
March 2nd is Nashville. That's our home
No,
opener.
I meant March 30th. The LAFC
March
one
30th.
at home.
Yeah.
That's the first one that really, when I look at the schedule, first thing I went to was LAFC at home.
Interesting.
And that's mostly because it's an early game, which, yay, we all love early games.
Let's go.
There's finally an early game. We didn't have any last year.
It sucked. I hated every minute of it, especially with the bad team. Second of all, you're getting an LAFC team that's going to be very different from what you're used to seeing the last couple of years. Probably no Vela, no Palacios, no Cellini, no Kellen Acosta.
Probably more than that, too.
Yeah, there's a lot more movement going on.
I mean, they'll spend money and have guys.
Exactly.
But will they have built a team enough ready to compete instantly?
Exactly. And that's the one thing that when I first saw, I'm so intrigued to how the new look Rapids with all these rumors and all these players they're trying to bring in are going to look against a new look LAFC.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the first. Well, it's not the first game that pops to me, but I see what you're saying. This is like the first. No, there's two games to me that tie for the most important. They're both first half of the schedule. They're both away. They're both away at RSL on March 9th and May 18th. You'd see them on the road twice before you get them at home later in the season. Let's see. When do they come? They come in end of July, right?
It's a long time, yeah.
So to me, they clowned the Rapids last year on the field. Supporters clowned them. It was a complete domination of the rivalry, and you now have to go there twice away before you get a shot at home. That is as big a test as this team could have on that schedule to me. like it's. I mean, especially only being the third game. You know, there's going to be. You obviously have the new coach. You have whole new system. You have maybe 6 or 7 new players in the game day roster.
Hopefully.
I don't know. I don't like that. To me, is like that's like boom. March 9th. Whatever happens in those first 2 games, don't really care. I care about that RSL game. That's when the season starts. That's when you need a result. That's when you show us where all this positive talk and all this goodwill you've built in this short bit of offseason that we've had with Armis and Porig. That's where it all comes to rest, is that RSL game, 3rd game of the season away.
What about you, Duane?
Well, I want to, before I drop mine, jump on to Mitch's. The one thing I'm encouraged about with those is that we always stink when we go there.
Correct.
But kind of what you just said, new coach, maybe half a squad, brand new players. It's a different team that will be headed out there this time. And so it's a new page, it's a new book, new chapter. Maybe
new author.
It flips the new whopper characters. Maybe this is what we need to be able to flip the script on that. So I'm super excited about that game as well. The biggest one for me is February 24th, this season opener in Portland.
That is big.
The whole season last year could be wrapped up in that first Seattle game.
Well,
I mean,
if you
that
aren't correct there, Duane.
I remember the 3 of us were sitting here in the bar watching that game together. And if ever there was a season preview of any preview, it was that game for the 2023 Colorado Rapids. So I want to see
It
us.
was a bad time.
Yeah, I mean,
Except for Rubio hopping in the comments. Shout out to
which
our
is
guy.
great.
That was awesome.
But I mean, for me, that's one of the biggest games, is because it is the first time we're going to see, the Chris Armas led Rapids with new players, new look, new strategy, in action for real. Not preseason, but everything's on the line. This is who this team is for 2024. So to me, that's a huge one. Obviously the RSL games, but I think what jumped out to me the most is actually almost the entire month of July.
Ooh, that was my notes too.
Yeah. So let's get into July then, since it's both of us.
4th of July, home to SKC. Love a rivalry match, right? Love seeing a big game on 4th of July. It was, who was here last year? It was Portland.
Well, Portland,
right, because they only played half of it.
Yep,
and then we
that's
had
what
to
it
play
was.
the second half the next week. The dumbest
one of the
game
many
of all time.
weather games.
So you go SKC home, St. Louis City home, Red Bull New York, Omir Armis revenge game at home. Road trip to Galaxy, which was probably your most impressive win last season.
Yep.
And then home for the Rocky Mountain Cup finale on the 20th. So you get 4 or 5 at home in that month. You end that run with your biggest rival. Mm-hmm. You get, look, these SKC and St. Louis games, I think you want those at home in July. You don't want those at home in October, into September when it's down the stretch, right?
Yeah.
You want to get those out of the way early because that end of the season is actually really favorable, and we can maybe end with that. To me, it's about as nice as you can ask, but that's the month. That defines this entire season.
SKC
right?
was also one of those teams that last year started off very slow.
Yeah.
Kind of right there with the Rapids for the worst team of the seasons at the beginning. And they kind of just picked it up at the end. So you're right, like maybe pushing them back a little bit. Having to be like midsummer instead of at the end of the year is good. And St. Louis at the end of the year started unraveling a little bit as well. You could see it. You could see that they were not the same St. Louis that they started off with high energy. So having them come in, maybe a little bit worn out with that high press, high energy kind of style of football might be exactly what you're looking for. And it looks like it's going to be a short week for both teams. But you get the advantage because you're at home. You're at home. So the short week is not going to be as huge because you don't have to travel.
Yep. Yeah, I think we're going to see
in 16 days you play 5 games.
Yeah. That July stretch, June and July, just a massive amount of games.
Over under
Saints
two and a
Leagues
half.
Cup.
Yeah,
Over under
thanks,
2.5
Leagues Cup.
lightning delays in those 4 or 5 at home in July.
I want to say none. I want to say under, and it's going to be 0 lightning delays this year. And I think it's because last year was cursed.
Interesting.
I think last year was the year of not of the Rapids.
I'm going to go outside the curse and say because this year won't be a part of an El Nino weather pattern. So I think
Oh, is that what it was?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the
So I
logical
think
way to
actual
think about it.
like science will help us
I
as
do
well.
think it's silly just looking at the schedule as like a bigger picture schedule. The fact that they only have 3 early games and only one of those is at home when you had all those lightning delays last year. Even if it's El Nino or not, Colorado gets those very classic. Storm comes in the afternoon on the west side where I live, rolls through town. You might still be getting those lightning delays, even if it's a little bit, and even if it's earlier, you might
For
be
sure.
pushing back start times. It's insane that they didn't look at that and be like, maybe we shouldn't start every home game at 7:30 p.m.
I think the main reason is because if you move it up, it's you start competing with the East Coast. And then if you move it even more up, they're prime time.
I don't care about the East Coast.
Nobody does, but that's how that works for them at least. I know it's their schedule.
Everyone does.
The other games that I'm really interested to see, and I'm hoping it's going to be a big game, is the Toronto one. I hope that Armis can get his revenge against Toronto, especially how passionate he was talking about them on the
That's
show
a big
last
one. That's
week.
one of the last home games of the year.
Exactly.
Fucking end of September. That's down the stretch. That's like
That's on my birthday, actually, and I just noticed.
happy birthday.
Thank you.
In the future.
Appreciate it. You don't have to say it again.
Thanks.
But that's the one I'm actually
Happy
really,
birthday.
really
Wow,
excited
thanks.
for towards the end of the
In
year.
Ju- in
Getting
September.
them and then getting the Sounders, because I think the Sounders one will be playing for playoff position.
That stretch there. We can even start it with that Toronto game. You get 3 of 5 at home to end the season. Right? You get Toronto home, Minnesota away, big one. Right? You're probably in the neighborhood with Minnesota hopefully fighting for the same playoff spots. Hopefully.
For
Somewhere from
3
7 to 4-ish.
like 40 to 8, I
Yeah.
think it's going to be like very close. To like
Galaxy
last
at
year.
home. Look, I think Galaxy has some nice players, but I'm not scared of Galaxy.
They're
I think
getting
Galaxy is
reinforcements.
going to be very good.
They might
this
be.
year.
They're getting some guys in there
Maybe.
because they know they screwed up too.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, we'll talk season preview,
Yeah.
but I think Galaxy is the team to look for as far as like teams who turn it around.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. And then you get Seattle at home,
Which is a juggernaut.
the last home game of the season. October 5th, Seattle. Hopefully it's cold. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully
Yeah, they're
it's one of
fine.
those
They're going to be
late-
fine
That's
with the
true.
Seattle.
Yeah, because how it started last year in Seattle was freezing and terrible.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's snowing.
Yeah.
We want a snow classico in October.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Doesn't snow until Halloween.
That's not true.
Yeah, it's not
It is
before.
true.
No, it's not before here.
Telling you.
Duane, I'm a
It's
native man.
Halloween.
I've been here
Yeah, Duane, what are you
27
talking-
years.
I'm
Talking
telling
to
you,
you
the
here.
past 8 years, as someone who has to go out and trick or treat every year, snow.
Well, yeah,
all but
we
one
know
of
that.
those
Yeah,
Halloweens.
you have to build your Halloween costume around winter clothing.
Yeah.
We know that. We grew up here.
So
Duane.
it's not gonna snow till Halloween.
No, it's going to snow for that game, and we're going to relish in it.
We're gonna be happy about it for sure.
It's gonna be. We'll go
I
back.
won't
We'll
be.
go
I'll
back.
be pissed because I'll be in the outdoor
We'll go back
press
and watch
seating.
this episode. It's going to be 78 degrees that day and beautiful. It's
Yeah.
going to be a really nice day at the Dick.
Either way, I'm happy.
It's always
Big
a nice
game to
day at
end
the
it. And then just
gonna
like
be
last
really
year,
nice.
decision day at Austin. I wonder how often does that happen where you get the same decision day opponent, same location? I thought that was an interesting wrinkle to the schedule.
Was it at Austin last year?
Yeah, it was at Austin.
I don't remember that well, but I think the logic behind it is solid. There are teams that are going to be fighting for the same position. I think they're trying to make it so teams that actually have to win against each other make it a really interesting matchup. And I think that MLS is predicting the
maybe that's 2 years
Rapids
ago.
and in Austin to be kind of in the same area. So at that, I mean, it happens, you know. Austin at home. Also, it's going to be a long break between when you see Austin again, all the way from June all the way to October. So it could be a completely different team because at that
Yeah,
point you also
totally.
have the transfer market open. So you can get it pieces. You can lose some guys. Same thing with Austin. At the end of the day, I think it comes down to what the MLS is predicting and where they're going to land in the standings, and they're just trying to get an interesting matchup at the end of the day.
You
I
know,
lied.
it's
Decision day was Salt Lake.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
at home. It was the year before they were at Austin.
You know what's hilarious about all of the games that we're interested in?
What?
Not one of them is April 6th. Colorado at Messi.
Oh yeah, I mean we can talk about
I actually
that.
thought about that. I'm like, I'm gonna bring that up, and then I forgot about it completely.
I mean, look,
It's
cares about
fine.
Messi?
I mean, look.
I'm over it now.
No, I mean, look, it's gonna be like the least viewed Miami game of the season, right? Like it's gonna have the least hype of any Messi appearance on TV.
If Messi plays, it will not be the least. When they
I said of Messi games.
of Messi games. Okay.
Yes, it will be the
I
least.
call Miami Messi. So
Okay, sure.
Inter
Just
Messi.
saying.
Inter
Inter
Messi.
Messi. Gotcha.
Look, it would be dope if you could go to Miami and get a result against that team. But let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7th game of the season under a new coach with big roster turnover and a lot of questions.
That's usually when you turn it around and smash a team. So
I would be
I
more
think it's
confident
great.
in that Quakes game. But God, what a brutal schedule!
But it's
I just
also-
made
Look
that
at this
up.
travel schedule. Okay, so at Miami, next game at San Jose, about as far as you can travel in the MLS. Home to Dallas, at Cincy, at NYCFC. Brutal stretch.
I think that week they might just stay in Cincy and then go to New York.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense.
That would be the easiest way to do that. But the one thing I'll say about Miami real quick is that you're not just facing Messi anymore. You got Busquets, you got Alba, and now you got Suarez there too.
I'm not convinced on Suarez.
Dude, he was still balling out in the Brazilian league.
He
and
said
I'm like,
himself that like
his knees
he
are-
can't move.
Yeah.
Like
well, after a game, which
Yeah.
if you've ever played soccer, it's not that uncommon for a lot of guys.
well, sure. I just remember this is extremely random, but back when Grantland still existed, if you remember that amazing sports website, they were talking to Steve Nash, and he was talking about like when he ended his career with the Lakers, what it took for him to be ready for a game versus even 3 seasons before. Just hours and hours getting ready, hours and hours after, and even then you're not close to 100%. When you see the player himself talking about how broken down he is,
Yeah.
right, and how difficult it is for him to be ready for a game and to recover from a game, you know, if Miami's season goes to plan, they're going to play like 55, 60 games.
Also, their
Like, I
preseason
don't see
schedule is
it.
brutal,
and their
dude.
preseason schedule's going all over the world.
It's
I
Al
mean, look,
Khalil, Al Nassar, Vasal Kobe, Newell's old boys. Like
he
that's
is one of
insane.
he's truly one of the greatest strikers of this generation. You can't deny that.
greatest striker in my opinion.
Sure.
Pure striker.
But man, I don't think he's 50 plus games is a lot to play when you're already talking about how busted you are.
Well, all right. So it's what is it? The
That's
seventh
its
game,
whole
right?
own conversation.
Yeah,
I
but that's the
guess.
7th game of the
Yeah.
season, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he plays the first one, takes a break, plays the first one, takes a break. So there's a possibility he might be there and might be rested enough where he can.
It would be
the
fun
guy.
to watch him play. Don't get me
mean,
wrong.
I would love it, dude. I'm a Suarez guy.
Interesting.
Real
He's a
quick, by the way,
biter.
give us a like if you're watching. Let's get what 15 likes, 20 likes today.
That'd be sick.
Nope. Just real quick, if you're there, give us
Yeah,
a quick
20
like.
would be sick. Let's hit 20. Kevin goes, all I know is that if Luis Suarez bites one of the Burgundy boys, I'm flying to Miami and riot in.
You're gonna bite him right back, Kev.
Let's go. Any other quick notes on the schedule, guys? Anything else you want to talk about there?
Nashville's gonna be fun. Home opener. That's gonna be really fun. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited to see what the Earthquakes are this year again, because I believe they're losing Kate Cowell at some point this offseason.
I think my biggest takeaway is pretty much your scariest games of the year all happen before the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Because, like, after 4th of July, you know, at Dallas isn't going to be easy. At SKC isn't going to be easy. Timbers at home, Sounders at home, but those are at home, right? But before that, you have Miami. You go to Cincy. You have 2 games at RSL. You have LAFC at home. You have LAFC away. You have St. Louis City away. You have Houston. Like, you have 2 games against San Jose, 2 games against Vancouver. So you get so many of these dogfights out of the way early. Right? And if you can survive and even be close to a playoff spot by 4th of July and you see it working, you have to be encouraged with the way the schedule shapes up after that. And granted, that doesn't account for MLS being MLS and teams being better or worse than you plan on. But to me, first half of the schedule, pretty brutal. Second half, if you can write it out, 4th of July on, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 home games, 5 road games with Leagues Cup in there.
The other thing is also real quick is that looking at the schedule, no game looks easy.
Well,
And that's what
that too.
happens. And
Yes.
that's what happens when you're a bad team. Every game looks like an uphill battle.
Yep.
That's fair. Then that's probably the best way to put it. This is
Yeah.
all with the asterisk of what is this team going to look like?
Exactly. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, it all becomes who they are.
Correct. Logan says, how long did it take us to score a home goal last season? Will we score our first home goal quicker than last year? I can tell you.
I think it was the 3rd or 4th game that they scored a home goal. Because I know they scored against LAFC for sure, and that was in May.
Sounders at home, scoreless. That March game, it was the Jack Price game because they led for about 2 minutes.
against
And then
Kansas
Jack
City.
Price tears his Achilles and they give up 2 goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't that bad.
Happy birthday, Jack.
Is it his birthday today?
A few days back, but I
Oh,
want to say
shout
happy
out to a
birthday.
legend, man. Happy birthday. All right. That's going to wrap it up for schedule talk. Let's talk about some of our new sponsors. We got 3 new sponsors today.
They love us. They really love us.
Let's talk about our friends at Circa Resort and Casino. These are the homies, man.
I'll be out there in January.
Vegas's first ever adults only casino resort. Only adults. We're not checking your ID. We know if you're here, you're an adult, you're hanging out. It is the world's largest sports book because they have a 3-story stadium style sports book. Super producer Carroll has enjoyed time at Circus Sportsbook, I understand.
A couple times, yeah. It's been a great time.
It's pretty dope, huh?
It's the coolest place I've been to in Vegas, for sure.
Yeah, you heard it from super producer Kale. It takes 10 people to operate their 78 million pixel screen. That's crazy. I don't know how many pixels to screen. I can tell you they probably have 78 million pixels out at the DSGP scoreboard.
Isn't that like?
I don't think we have that many.
No,
pixels.
we don't have even a million.
I don't think
bet.
you even have 10. If I'm honest.
Yeah. There is Victory Burgers and Wings and Project Barbecue right there in the sports book. Tons of VIP seating. You got the Dugout Club, the Legends Club, the Champions Club, Circa Club Upper, and Circa Club Lower, North and South stands. Basically, if you're trying to treat yourself to a day of sports watching / gambling, no better place to do it. They have a 7,000 square foot casino with 2 levels, over 1,300 slots, 48 table games, and dancing dealers. That's what I've been missing in my dealers. Don't even get me started on Stadium Swim. I haven't been, but this looks like the coolest thing in Vegas. 4,000 person capacity. They have a 140 by 40 foot LED screen. It's open every day of the year. 6 pools, 2 spas, 15,000 square feet of water to hang out in, 2 swim bars, cabanas, and super cabanas that can hold up to 50 guests. The resort itself has over 500 rooms, a variety of layouts to fit your needs, art from local artists. Elevate your evening at the Legacy Club or any one of the other restaurants. Are you going out for Broncos Raiders? I know
Yeah,
this guy
I
is.
am.
What
Let's
about
go.
Avs Nights? What about Pac-12 or Mountain West Tourneys? March Madness, any of that. Book your stay with code DNVR20 for 20% off. Circa Sportsbook is available in Colorado. Just download the app at circasports.com. Circa Sports bets can only be made while physically located in the state of Colorado. Must be 21 or older. All rights reserved. Circa Sports Colorado encourages you to gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER or visit problemgamblingcolorado.org. Duane, who else are we brought by?
Well, Mitch, I'm so glad you asked because we're also brought to you today by Hestra Job Gloves.
Wow.
What is Hestra, you might ask? They're a glove company. That's all they do.
That's
They
it.
know gloves for over 85 years. That's what they do. They make gloves and they make darn good ones. I can attest as someone who owns a pair of Hestra work gloves. I used them yesterday on the southeast side. We got a lot more snow than downtown, and I was shoveling using my Hestra gloves, and they are toasty, they're warm, they're dry, they're perfect, and I love them. in the winter, when you have to go out and do some work, whether it's on your car or something on your house or whatever, sometimes you want to grab your ski gloves and your snowboard gloves and you just wreck them. Don't ruin your good ski / snowboard gloves.
Stains on my snowboard gloves from working on my car.
Get some legit work gloves that hold up in all of the elements. So Hestra Job Gloves, they've got you covered. Visit them at www.hestrajob.us. That's how you can get to their gloves. That's how you can get to a happier time
In the cold.
working in the cold
I love that.
with some beautiful new Hestra Job Gloves.
Wow.
Fire.
Thanks.
They really are good. I'm telling you.
You were wearing them this week.
Yes,
Yeah.
yesterday. God, they're good. They're so good.
That's
All right,
awesome.
That's enough.
All right. Let's talk MLS Super Draft 2024 presented by Adidas. Sorry. Had to get it right. Rapids walk away with 3 of the top 5 picks in the draft. You have Wayne Frederick, midfielder. Let's start there. He was taken with the second pick. I think everyone had the 2 GA guys penciled in as 1 and 2 off the board in the draft. They went 4th and 27th, I think. So, and we'll get into Kimani there in a sec. But Wayne Frederick goes midfielder from Duke. We were talking to just a bunch of Rapids folks after the Armis interview here at the DNVR bar where everyone was hanging out and having fun. They've been scouting Wayne for a very long time. This is a guy they identified young. They love his fit in the midfield. I guess the elevator pitch on him is smooth operator. Right?
Not just that.
Comfortable
he's
with the
also,
ball. Just
The other thing with him, too, is he's super versatile.
Yes.
You saw it on the broadcast that they're talking about. Doyle wanted him as a wing back. Then you saw Weeby like, well, I think he's a 6. And they were like, he's more of an 8. He could also play center back. So dude can play all over that back line almost. And he can also play 2 positions in that midfield, which is so key for the Rapids, who were lacking bodies last year.
Right.
That they had to go get a loan for Danny Leyva to try to see if they can get more bodies in there, especially when Acosta was gone and all these guys were gone. So bringing in a guy like Frederick is going to just allow Armas to be able to like mess around a lot more with these lineups and trying to bring in more on the few times he does come in and be able to develop him.
and high upside.
Exactly.
And that's not just. I mean, the Rapids probably took him higher than anyone had him mocked, but everyone agrees that it's a high upside pick, right? And when you have a draft like you had this draft, where the rules expand, and all of a sudden you have basically a triple draft, right? You don't you added all of these prospects, so there isn't one number 1 pick. There's 3 number 1 picks. There isn't. One number 2 pick. There's 3 number 2 picks. All of a sudden, the depth is so great that if you're picking at 4, like the Rapids were after picking at 2, you can go get the guy that you have spent all this time working on, scouting, watching games, talking to, traveling to. You take him at 2 because you know that that's the guy that's going to fit your system because you have the opportunity in this expanded draft. Duane, what was your reaction to that Frederick move besides being frustrated with finding pictures?
Shock. Yeah, I mean, obviously we were ready for one of the 2 GA guys to get picked, and then it was this big surprise of Wayne Frederick. And for me, trying to create the graphic, it was a nightmare because there's not a lot out there on him photo wise yet because he is so young.
Very young.
So mostly it was surprise, but we talked to Porig after Chris was here, downstairs, and one of the things that stuck out to me about Wayne Frederick from what Porig had said is that he is a super smart kid, and he's very, very mature. Part of the risk when you bring in these super young guys is that they're still super young guys, they're not very mature. It's hard for them to be away from home. It's hard, for them to make good decisions as young kids, out living the dream and with a little money in their pocket. And what he said was that that's not an issue with Wayne Frederick whenever they bring him up because he's super mature. His dad is the president of Howard University. He
I did not know that.
Yeah, he understands like what it's like because of watching his dad be in the public.
Right.
And the role of a university president is largely getting donors. Like you're like the recruiter for money.
Totally.
Right.
Totally.
And so he's seen his dad out and working within the public. He knows what it's like to be a face of an organization, of a club. And he brings all of that kind of maturity as a very, very young man to the club, which, those things are outside of soccer skills, but super, super important because you don't have to worry about behavior stuff or, bad decisions, things like that. So that was another kind of like little secret behind the scenes thing of why he was such a valuable player to go after at such a high number at number 2.
Yeah, look, you go and get your guy, right? Like that's basically what you do. You have that pick, you go and get the guy that you think can fit the best. And it's just pretty cool that's look, it could be a big miss, right? It's the MLS draft. Could be a huge miss. Or this could be the guy that they've been waiting on for years and they locked him down and he's going to fit into the midfield here in the next couple seasons. Let's go to the number 4 pick, Kimani Stewart-Baynes.
This is the one I'm really excited for.
This is the one all of us were excited about, right? I mean, this is a guy who was, maybe at worst the second pick, possibly the first pick going into the draft.
Dude, there's the thing. I completely understand what Toronto's doing. They're going to get their guy who they want, kind of what the Rapids did, right? You're going to get the guy that you believe in.
Spicer, you mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you had the homegrown kid right there, Toronto native. He's from Ontario, I think. Like, you could have just had him be a part of your crew, be the face of that franchise. You already missed out on Tejan Buchanan a few drafts back, and it feels like it's happening all over again. And this time, the Rapids are a beneficiary of that dumb pick, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think Kimani, like, and there goes the comparison. Tejan Buchanan, I think that's who it is. You see him play, he's super fast, which is the first thing you see when it's the thing that pops off the screen is the speed. Second is his IQ. He knows exactly where the ball should be. He knows when the pass should. The biggest issue with the Rapids wingers last year, what were they? They wouldn't get the ball into the box quick enough. They take forever. With Kimani Baynes, his timing is impeccable when it comes to that. He can pick out the guy from a long way, and he usually finds the head, and it turns out to be a goal. That's why I really like Kimani Baynes. If you just look at Tejan, I think if his ceiling is Tejan Buchanan, a guy that got sold to Europe for I think around like 10 million.
Yeah, I mean that was Borg's kind of pitch to us is they think they got of these 6, they got 3 guys that they can sell on to Europe.
Yeah.
Right. And Kimani, no doubt, is one of those guys. He's fast as hell, goal scorer, quick reactor, right? Able to relocate around a broken play or a crazy deflection and get himself back into position to score. He was the Big Ten Freshman of the Year last year at Maryland. He's a baller, like straight up. Now, does that mean it's going to convert? Who knows? Again, all this is the biggest question mark in sports is the MLS draft.
Reminder: Rapids got the number one prospect in 2020, I believe, in Philip Mayaka. Didn't turn out to be anything.
Did he even play an MLS minute?
I don't think he played for the Rapids.
Yeah,
ever.
exactly.
I don't think he ever suited up for the first team. Well, played for the first team.
He was on the bench multiple times, but never actually played.
But man, I like Kimani a lot. Every little bit of film I found on him is encouraging. Fast as hell. But not just fast because, like, we have fast guys. We have one of the fastest guys in the world in Duane's favorite player, Kevin Cabral. And what good does that do him? Not much. So it's how he uses his speed and how he reacts to the plays off the ball, gets himself back into position, just quick adjustments, great with the ball at his feet. I don't know. I'm very excited for him. He can play across that formation. He's probably too small to play striker in the MLS. But he could, slide up to like a 10, kind of corner of the box, connector sort of guy, play outside on the wings.
If you have Omir and you have Kimani Baynes and those are your wingers and that's cool, then you still have like a Calvin Harris. Like, you have some guys in that position. Now, maybe not the top quality to pair with Omir, but now you have somebody that can supplement him, especially on the left side.
I feel like even if his ceiling is like
Calvin Harris.
Like better Jonathan Lewis. I think you're pretty excited about that pick.
Yeah.
Look,
That's what Calvin Harris is.
Yeah.
Kimani Stewart-Baynes comes from Maryland. This is one of the top, if not the top, U.S. college for soccer, men's soccer.
Yeah, it's
in
like
the country.
them and Clemson
Like,
and Duke.
They
Stanford.
are. Maryland is top notch.
Oh, yeah.
For him to be a starter as a freshman at Maryland and also go on to win, freshman of the year in Big Ten for 2023, that is not a soccer program at a smaller school where he rises to the top and shines because the rest of the talent around him is not very good. Like the talent around him at Maryland, they're all good. So for him to rise to the top on a team that's already good, that already has an expectation of winning championships, he's already getting that kind of education of this is what is expected of you as someone who has soccer talent. And he showed up, and got that Freshman of the Year award. Shows that he understands that at Maryland. So what he's learning there, he's already got some, obvious great skills like you guys have talked about. Hopefully Maryland it's not even hopefully, he's showing it already that winner's attitude in Maryland is going to, come into Colorado and start to impart that around the guys around him because, there's not always a feeling of winner and championships expected here at Colorado Rapids. So having that expectation come in from the outside could be a nice little flu to spread around the winner's flu, and that's what the squad needs coming after last year.
And with these two guys right now, like they're super young. They're probably going to be guys that are going to be playing in Rapids too for the most part.
Sure.
Yeah. We'll get into Nate Jones and the rest of the picks here in a sec, but let's make sure we don't forget to mention our friends at Red Hawk Roofing. These guys are DNVR homies, man.
Did you guys hear that hawk? Producer Kale, that's my favorite part about the battery, the hawk. And then people in the comments, I sometimes put it really low, and they're like, "Did you guys hear a hawk?" That's the funnest thing to
Is there
do.
a hawk on set? Yeah, we keep one over there in the corner.
Denver's best roofers have joined the DNVR team. Quality materials, decades of experience, and a quick response time. They are Colorado's best estimators and contractors, but most importantly, they're huge DNVR guys.
Yep.
If that's not a seal of approval, I don't know what is, right? They know what's up. They know what's good. We also know what's good with them. They have a free, no obligation roof and property inspection and a free in-depth photo reports for all their inspections, right? So, Duane, you've gone through roof problems.
Oh, God, have I gone through roof problems this year.
Red Hawk's not going to put you
You
through
got to
this.
have somebody you
Roof
can count
limbs?
on.
Oh, nice. That was a good one. You don't have to go through that, these guys, especially with how they will come out for free, check it out, tell you what needs to be done. You don't have to commit to anything with them, but they will tell you what the work that needs to be done. Winter's here. It's been snowing. So don't wait and take care of any issues before the real big storms come here in the next couple months. If you are looking for a new roof over your home or business, be sure to check out Red Hawk Roofing at redhawkroofing.com and tell them the DNVR sent you.
It's rough roof, call Red Hawk.
Yeah. Ring Red Hawk.
Ring Red Hawk. There you go.
Yeah.
The R's. Alliteration.
Nice.
I went to school.
Yeah, that's right. Believe that. Okay, let's jump back into the draft here, guys.
Is Nate Jones going to be the biggest one?
Yes, 100%.
Cool.
I think Nate Jones is of all these guys, he's the guy that prospect-wise, profile-wise, slots in as a MLS contributor, both the fastest and probably the most realistic. He's 6'3", burly, left-footed center back who played at Center Back University at Washington. He played with Vermont a little bit over the summer. This guy is a for sure. And I I think as a group, we were very excited about the prospect of adding a guy like Nate Jones. Nate Jones,
Yeah.
no matter what.
There was a
Right.
There was one of the guys I was planning the table for
Yeah.
with the first 2 picks. It was
Yeah.
Kimani
If you could get
or
Kimani
Anor.
and Nate. Yeah.
It was like Anor or Kimani, and then
Yeah.
Maya Pope, I think, but he didn't actually commit because he didn't sign the GA contract. But it was Nate Jones.
Yeah.
Those are my top 4 guys. Like if you came out of the draft with 2 of those, great draft.
Yeah, and so-
you
okay.
came out with both of them.
Yeah.
Like you came out with the top 2 in each position. And Nate Jones to me is the guy that when I look at him, he reminds me a little bit of Courtney Ford. That kind of agility that he had here, and that like big stalwart that he's ready to kind of just, you're not getting past me, which is something I'm really excited for. So now you have a back line of your center back depth gets a little bit better because now you have Michael Edwards, Keita, Bombi, and Maxu, and then you add an Nate Jones that can come back into the second team and go
I think-
back and forth.
I think you probably immediately slot Nate Jones in above Edwards and
Keita?
and Keita. I think immediately.
I think Keita is a baller, and I'm like,
I mean, I
I'm
hope
like,
so,
yeah.
but he hasn't played in 2
Yeah,
years.
we don't-
That's the thing.
So
Like,
I'm gonna go with unlikely.
I have really high hopes for Keita
Yeah, me
still.
too.
Like and
But-
after the signing the contract, I think they're like, okay, you might be ready to go. Like, cause they just gave him an extension, so
Yeah.
I think they're gonna be with him.
Look, I hope you're right, but Nate Jones, and the thing about this Nate Jones pick, and when we got Porter talking about the pick, and about how it wasn't a pick, right? They acquired the rights via just a bevy of moves, right? You trade from 12 to 14, you trade from 14 to 19, you trade from 31 to 34. 19 to 31, 31 to 34. So you basically move back 5 times and pick up GAM every time. You sell one of those picks. So maybe you didn't move down. I think that 19th pick they just straight up sold. You move back from 31 to 34. You pick up enough GAM to just go buy the number 1 center back in the draft. Right? You basically cover it. You still have all your picks later, and we can get into some of those names, although wouldn't hold out too much hope for anybody after these top 3. Maybe they break through. Who knows? It happens. But it was a masterclass. It was Moneyball. It was wheeling and dealing.
It was Porg
got it.
Smith, Jean-Claude Van Gam, Super Draft, Kung Fu. Like,
No, straight up. It was a masterclass in transactions and getting what you need from teams that didn't realize that that's what you were trying to do, right? And so you end up with 3 of the top 5 picks. I would say 2 of those are probably going to be MLS starters. If you average it out, project out, you probably get 2 good MLS players out of that, if not all 3. And that's exciting. Do you just want to hit the rest of the picks? Let's see. I just closed it on my computer, of course. Here we go. Okay. The last 3 picks they had in round 2, Palmer Alt. This is a midfielder out of Butler. This is a guy all the Rapids front office was excited about. Everyone we talked to was excited about Alt. Like, actually.
Yeah, it was pretty funny because of the reaction around him. Like, I don't know anything about him. That's not a guy that I scouted.
Me
He's
neither.
no Kevin Bonilla or Kevin Badnilla now because
Yeah.
screw him. He's an RSL player.
Yeah.
But like that's a guy that everybody I've talked to is like, yeah, we'll see what he turns out to. He seems like a fun player.
Anderson Rosa, defender from Central Florida. And then Gunnar Studenhoft from Manhattan, a forward. The one thing I noticed about all of those are physically they're all pretty imposing, except for Kimani, who's physically imposing because he's fast as shit. Not big, though. But the rest of them are all physically imposing. They definitely had a general idea of the profile of player they wanted, and they nailed it. I mean, adding 6 guys that you can throw into R2, into the back of the first team, get them in training as fast as possible, elevate their level of practice from D1 soccer to MLS, right? Get them on the training ground as quick as you can, get them into preseason, and see what you have, because who knows, right? They could shock you, right?
The Gunner guy, because I can't say his first name.
No, that's his first name.
Oh, what's his last name?
Studenhoft.
That I can't say that.
Yes, you can.
Gunner.
Studenhoft.
Talking to Porrig, they got him because of how he said he's physically imposing, and he said, yeah, he's a big MFer.
Hell
Let's
yeah.
throw him out there and let's scare some small guys in the MLS. That's like not exact quote, but very close to what he said. And I was like, wow, that looks really fun. He's like, throw him out there at the end of a game, and he's gonna scare some of these little guys, especially in MLS Next Pro. And he thought it was gonna be a really fun pickup at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, if it works, great.
Also, one thing, talking to a lot of people in the front office, talking to some of these people, expect them all to be out of college. None of these guys are going to be draft and stash. All these guys are going to come straight into the team and try to get acclimated as quickly as they can into the Rapids' new style of play. So be aware that these guys will probably be either on Rapids or Rapids 2 starting next year.
Yeah, you hope. I mean, you hope some of them just break in, honestly. You hope maybe a Kimani and a Nate Jones are in that rotation.
It's just so much players. 6 of them, kind of trying to get as many of them onto Rapids.
I
It's
think
gonna
you
be
put
hard.
4 of them in with R2 and hope the 2 of them can break into the first team.
I think Wayne and
Or
Kimani
maybe you get
and
some
Nate, all
USL
3 of them.
loans going, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, send somebody down to San Antonio or up to NOCO or, you know, Sacramento, wherever you can get them time. If you can't guarantee it with R2, I think that's the way to go. And that's going to do it for the draft talk because we only have about 10 minutes to talk about rumors. So
14.
Well, we got to do we got to do plugs. We got to get out of here.
Yeah,
That takes
14,
time.
it's fine.
Yeah, let's talk about. Let's go with the main rumor from last week, which was Lalo Torres from Juarez, a central
No,
defensive.
from Chivas.
Oh right, Juarez is the
Chivas.
link. Is the other link?
They're getting. Yeah, they're
you're right. He's
bidding
from
war.
Chivas. Defensive midfielder. He's played with the Mexican under-23 side. Hasn't really broken through in Liga MX.
He was a starter a couple years ago, at like age 20. He was one of those really exciting prospects that were coming in when Chiquete and all those out in Chivas. Main thing when you kind of see him play is he's really, really quick to get the ball forward. He's a type A kind of player, kind of how like Armas explained, kind of described Omir. A guy that's trying to get the ball forward, he gets the ball, immediately turns around, and is looking for the next pass. And that's exactly what the Rapids need, because you saw a lot of time in that defensive midfield role that he was very likely not to throw the ball out there. It got stuck when it got to maybe like a Ronin or it got to a Cole because there was no real player there. Defensively, he's not afraid to put in a tackle. He's not afraid to get in and get dirty. That's the main thing I saw from him. He's very good with the ball at his feet, but he's also very likely to lose the ball with a lot of pressure. He can be very clumsy at times, which is not a good sign. And I don't know if he has the actual agility to play in a physical league like the MLS because Liga MX is not as physical. But we'll see what happens. I like him a lot. I think he would come in and fix a lot of the problems defensively with the Rapids in that position. At the end of the day, it all comes down to is the price right.
Yeah, and I mean, look, whether or not this is the guy, and I haven't been able to really get anything confirmed, you know, from the Rapids on this, but it's definitely the profile of the player that is missing most in this roster.
Yeah.
Right, is a ball controlling 6, right? And obviously we knew that losing Jack. And you saw it as you tried to replace Jack with everybody that you possibly could, and no one could do it. Right? And I'm not saying you need a like for like with Jack, but clearly you need someone above the defensive line that can dictate things a little more, right? So it's not these long passes from Gutman up to Rafa, right? That it's not these hectic, uncoordinated transitions from one end to the other, that you can actually plan it out, take your time, have the offense flow a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I don't know if this is the guy. I think right now I would probably lean towards not the guy.
Yeah.
But I do think it's absolutely nailing what we should expect them to fill the roster with.
Yeah.
Right? And whether that's looking to Liga MX, whether that's looking over to like a championship side in England or
Brazilian league
or even here, you know, an interleague.
Will Trapp is the guy I would love on the Rapids.
Ooh.
That's the guy that's still a free agent. He's out there.
I'm into that.
They chose Hassani Dotson over him. They
Fair.
have Kevin Arriaga, like, which is cool. So,
What?
like, Minnesota let him walk. See if you can go get a guy like Will Trapp.
Homie down in Austin.
Alex Ring?
Would love Ring.
Yeah. Ring is a guy that
I love that guy.
I think he just got extended. But
send him some funny money. Let's go,
Yeah.
Garber Bucks, baby.
so that's the one thing. Yeah, like that's the only one but they accumulated a lot of gam. They got a bunch of gam.
I mean, they spent most of it. The draft, at least.
Oh yeah, but they still have
Yeah.
some more from like other.
Yes. They're plus Gam right now.
Yeah, the one thing about Porig is that he always has his gam with him at all times.
He keeps that
True.
thing on him, baby.
Exactly. So like, gam is not an issue, especially a player like Jonathan Lewis, a player like Lawless Abubakar, a player like Danny Wilson, that you can have in a trade. Throw some gam in there. Go try to get a Dotson.
Right.
Go maybe get I doubt you can get a Grueso because he just went to San Jose last year. But guys like that are guys
Didn't
that
he sign with Miami?
No, Gressel's still with
Oh, okay.
You're thinking of Julian Gressel,
Right.
not Gruesel.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. But those are
There's
the guys.
too many names.
Oh, and Will Trapp went back to Minnesota, so never mind.
Either way, that's where you got to look, right? Like you need to find a 6.
Mm-hmm.
Period. End of story. That's the hole in the roster. No matter where you fill out the last couple roster spots, that is the key, right? And you've heard they're looking for another DP attacker. You've heard, that the wings aren't sorted out yet. Maybe another midfielder on his way in. Maybe some outside back help, which is great. The Stefan rumor, which I think if that deal goes through, people are going to be very excited. But that 6, that is the hole. It is the most important hole on this roster. I do still think you need a winger, and I still think you need another outside back. What?
I just thought it was funny the way you said it's the most important hole in the roster. I just
Nice.
find it kind of funny.
Nice.
I still think a 10 is very, very needed.
You don't think between Omir and Cole?
I think Omir's going to be on the wing, but that's where Armas wants him. Cole, I think, is an 8. I think, if anything, you push up Ronan to a 10.
Oh, I don't like that.
I mean, why not? He's not. You don't have to be physical as a 10.
For sure, but I don't know. I like him kind of orchestrating further back. Personally.
I understand.
Yeah.
I just think his vision is the best out of
That's
all of
true.
them.
Yeah.
And I think having him there, unless you're going to bench Cole, you're going to bench, if you get another 10, you're going to have to bench one of those guys.
Fuck. I don't want to bench Cole.
Exactly. Do you want to, if you get a 6, you're going to have to bench. If you get a 6 and a 10, you're going to have to start looking at players to sit on the bench and
Right.
a lot of rotation,
Right.
which again,
That's good.
necessary.
That's
It is-
not bad.
It's
Again,
a component to
look
have.
at June and July.
But you could do
All
better.
of if your bench is made up of people like Cole Bassett, that's a good thing.
That's actually a big plus.
Exactly.
Because it's only going to be a bench out of necessity, right? And once that June and July, just massive.
That slog
Game
before league stuff.
sandwich,
You're going
you
into
know.
the big tournament.
Yes.
Playing what do we say? 5 games in 16 days?
Yep.
Yep.
So you're going to want them, on your bench.
Yeah, that's a good point. One thing I want to get to before we're out of here, which we didn't talk about beforehand, but that's okay because I can bring it up right now. You guys are quick on your feet. There was a internet rumor floating around
That I was dead.
that Yaya died.
It's not true. He's right there.
He's sitting next to me. That Max had terminated his contract
Oh, yeah.
with the Rapids and was gone.
Yep.
That is not the case. That is an internet rumor. From what I have heard, contract's still there. Nothing's still decided with the league. I still expect him to be on a Brazilian team for sure. Playing there soon.
Playing Brazilian soccer.
Correct. But not via a contract termination, at least at this point. That is patently false. So
Think about it. Kroenke's super cheap. You think he's really just going to terminate a contract? He's going to try to get something out of it.
Get that money.
I think they will.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything I've heard says that there are teams that want Max in Brazil. Multiple teams. You don't just terminate the contract of a guy when there are multiple clubs looking for him.
Yeah.
Even if you're not going to get your return on investment, which he ruined that. And you kind of just have to be cool with it,
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing is before everybody, gets their pitchforks and lights their torches again to storm Dick's Sporting Good Castle, to be angry at the front office for signing Max, He was a great sign.
He was awesome.
He was really, really good. And then he made some real dumb decisions, which is out of the Rapids,
Control.
their control. But the other thing about it is like the Rapids can't just say, all is forgiven. Get him in a burgundy shirt and put him out on the pitch, because the MLS
Won't let you.
won't let you, and
Yeah.
MLS still has to bring down their punishments or
Right.
whatever.
And-
So that though, remember that is in the Rapids, brain as well.
And so Logan asked, did he bet, or did he not? If it was true, wouldn't he be banned from all FIFA affiliated leagues? Look, you saw gambling happening over in Europe. What was the biggest ban? 7 months?
Yeah, it was Tonali.
7 to 10 months. Yeah, between Tonali and Tony.
Look, man, if Mason Greenwood is still playing soccer,
Look, Mac. Yeah, he's not going to get a lifetime ban for taking a yellow for $12,000. Right? He'll get suspended for a few months once it ever happens. But he's still occupying a roster slot, a very important roster slot, an under 22 spot. And so once MLS concludes their investigation, which you would hope would be before preseason starts, that's Players Report January 12th, I believe.
I don't know.
Is when you come in for your first physicals, check in with the team, get going on stuff. Is
2
January
weeks
12th.
away from now.
We're very
that's just
like
a
we are
matter of
right
days.
around the corner.
I
Either
love
way,
how quickly it comes, and I hate how quickly it comes.
it's both great and horrible. But yeah, so I don't think that he is going to play again for the Rapids, right? I do believe he'll be in Brazil, but I would assume that Porig will get something out of that. That's all I'll say there.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna just get nothing.
Yeah, it might not be great, but
He'll get investment return.
Yeah.
And also the biggest thing is you get that U22 spot
that's
back.
the biggest thing.
That's your real accomplishment there. Because look at this. If they're willing to spend $1 million on Max, and then they use that same spot on another guy that's just as incredible, and they spend a little bit more money, which you can see they're kind of really willing to spend that money. And maybe that's why you don't see a move right away, is because they're waiting for
You
that
need
spot
that
to
under
open up.
22 slot. You
So-
did open up one with Gus. You do have one available right now.
Who knows, man? I mean, I really do think they're trying to cook something up there.
Me too.
I think they're willing to spend that money, and I'm excited for it.
Me too.
So I'm up for it.
I'm way less dismal than I was like a month ago. For real. Like that's real. This team will be, if not dramatically better, they will be dramatically more interesting, which is fun
Yeah,
for
for
us.
sure. Right?
Yes.
I don't think we're getting 6-0 home matches this season.
We're gonna get
Ugh.
5
No, we'll get, it's much more likely you're getting 2-2s.
or 1-1 at least.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening. I don't know. And, we got a lot to go through, right? You have a lot to go through in terms of, you still have basically the entire window. The international window opens up on
Also, some of these
Monday?
names, man. Yeah, and some of these names that we've heard about,
Yeah, they're fun.
like that we can't discuss publicly, like with just a little teaser. They're like, if half of them go through,
I mean, the Stefan,
It's gonna be
the
great.
Stefan move in and of itself
Mbappe.
is big time. Mbappe to the Rapids. You heard it from Duane
man.
first.
When I saw the Rapids are trading their number 12 pick, I'm like, here comes Mbappe, my guy.
Let's go.
Here comes Mbappe.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this episode of DNVR Rapids. Yeah, plug us out of here.
DNV_Rapids on Twitter. Follow us there. We'd really appreciate it. Give us a 5-star review wherever you hear this podcast. We are a podcast. Don't forget that. You can also listen to us on your way home.
Hit that like button. There's 18 of you. Hit it right now.
Hit the like button as quickly as you can. And if you break the computer, that's your fault.
Yes,
We don't get refunds.
correct.
Besides that, off to Duane, who's still giggling away.
Enjoy your holidays, everyone. Have a happy, safe New Year. Will we see everybody before New Year's? When is Monday?
Next, yeah.
Monday. We'll see you in
We'll
2024.
see you in 2024.
See you next year.
Let's go.
Like and subscribe. Become a diehard member at thednvr.com. That gets you behind the paywall on the site. That gets you a free t-shirt or hat. That gets you 20% off in the locker. 15% off at the DNVR bar. Gets you into the Discord channels. It basically makes you a better human being than someone who isn't a diehard member. That's just facts.
It's a bold statement, but it's fact.
It's a fact. More important than all of that, baby, the way we always end it, up the pits.
all silly like the mayor.